In today's video, we will be recapping the 2010 American science fiction movie titled REPO Men. The film opens in the year 2025, where advanced medical technology has led to the creation of biomechanical organs called artiforgs. The Union, a corporation, sells these expensive organs on credit. However, when customers fail to pay for their artiforgs, the Union dispatches REPO Men to forcibly repossess the organs, resulting in the owner's death. Remy is one of these repo men, recognized by the tattoo on his neck, and is exceptionally skilled at his job. In one scene, he waits inside a house for his target to arrive, and upon his arrival, Remy wastes no time informing him of the Union's claim, and subdues him with a special taser gun. Even when the target's companion tries to intervene, Remy quickly incapacitates her as well. He dons protective gear and listens to music through headphones before surgically removing the artiforg from the man's body. The following morning, Remy starts his day at home with his wife, Carol, and his son, Peter. He then proceeds to go around the city, collecting artiforgs and leaving clients to their fate. At the Union headquarters, Remy encounters his boss, Frank Mercer, who advises him to stay away from the main floor to avoid scaring potential clients. In the break room, he meets Raymond Pearl, who is on probation for a violent incident. Jake, Remy's best friend and former school bully, joins them. After serving together in a war, they both found employment at the Union, not necessarily believing in the cause, but enjoying the excitement of their missions. A few laughs and drinks later, Remy and Jake, the repo men, continue their wild escapades. Remy then stops by his wife Carol's workplace to inform her about the evening's plans. They exchange heated words, reflecting the strain in their relationship, as Carol disapproves of Remy's dangerous job. As they roam the streets, their repo scanners identify a civilian with an artiforg, leading to some teasing and intimidation. Remy and Jake share beers at a bar, discussing the complexities of their job, while Remy becomes entranced by a singer named Beth. Back home, Remy attempts to connect with Carol, but she rejects his advances, leaving him to check on his son Peter and share stories about school. However, a rift grows between Remy and Carol when Jake asks Remy to repo a client during a backyard barbecue. Initially reluctant, Remy is convinced by the lure of a substantial commission and agrees, unaware of the consequences. Then, during a patrol, they stumble upon a nest, a hideout for defaulted customers trying to evade repossession. The repo men engage in a brutal confrontation, overpowering the people in the nest with tasers and weapons. The situation becomes intense as customers start fighting back, resulting in fierce hand-to-hand combat. After a hard-fought battle, Remy and Jake return to their boss Frank's office, victorious with their spoils and the discovery of scanning jammers, devices to avoid detection by repo men's scanners. After receiving praise from Frank for their successful raid, Remy and Jake are offered full-time positions as raid captains, but Remy declines, considering a transfer to the sales department instead. However, Jake intervenes, insisting they are good as repo men. Later, Jake reminds Remy about the importance of rules and enforcing them. Remy sets out to do what he believes will be his final repo job on Jimmy T-Bone, a musician he admires. However, when Remy arrives at T-Bone's house, the musician invites him to collaborate on a song. After working together, Remy realizes that he can't go through with taking T-Bone's heart. During the repo attempt, the defibrillator malfunctions, electrocuting Remy and leaving him unconscious. Days later, Remy awakens in a hospital bed, with Jake and Frank by his side. They inform him that his heart has been replaced with an artiforg due to the defibrillator accident. Remy is reluctant to accept the mechanical transplant, but his failing body forces him to realize he has no other choice. Upon his release, Remy returns home, only to find that Carol has changed the locks and left a suitcase for him. She blames him for choosing his dangerous job over their family. Remy then goes to Jake's place, where he is offered a night out with girls, but he opts for rest instead. Returning to work, Remy is welcomed with a party by his co-workers. However, during his next repo job, he finds himself struggling to carry out the task, his hand trembling and unable to take out the artiforg. Remy is tormented by guilt after witnessing the consequences of his repo job on a client with a family. Unable to continue with his role as a repo man, he tries a sales position, but struggles due to his newfound sympathy for clients and inability to lie to them. Desperate for money, he even tries betting on horses, but his luck doesn't improve. When he receives a final notice for his heart payment, Remy's friend Jake takes him to a nest, hoping it will reignite his determination. However, even with Jake's help, Remy still can't bring himself to take back the artiforgs. In frustration, Jake leaves him, telling him not to return until he's back on track. Remy's life takes a new turn when he encounters Beth again. He helps her through detox and learns that she has multiple artiforgs that need to be reclaimed. Despite her initial anger towards him, Remy decides to help her escape from the Union. Breaking into the Union's building, Remy attempts to clear their accounts but is caught by Jake. After returning his taser gun, Remy breaks into his old house to say goodbye to his son Peter before fleeing with Beth. They find refuge in an abandoned building on the outskirts of the city. As days pass, Remy and Beth create a home for themselves, and their friendship gradually evolves into a romantic relationship. Beth shares the story behind her artiforgs, and Remy begins writing his memoir on a typewriter gifted to him by Beth. Several days later, Beth's enhanced hearing detects a sound outside, but Remy can't hear it. She connects her headphones to show him the source. Raymond, the repo man who took Remy's case, has found them. Fearing capture, the couple devises a plan to avoid detection. They move their belongings to another room with a concealed hole in the floor, covering it with a bedsheet. Beth hides behind the door, and Remy pretends to write when Raymond enters the room. However, the floor collapses, and Raymond falls into the hole. Beth also falls, damaging her prosthetic knee. Seizing an opportunity, Raymond attempts to tase her, but Remy intervenes and kills him by dropping a typewriter on his head. Stealing Raymond's car, Remy drives Beth back to the city for supplies. Beth demonstrates her resourcefulness by fixing her own knee using tools she found. In a daring move, Remy disguises himself in the lung costume worn by one of the Union's employees to infiltrate the company's premises. He confronts Frank, punching him and demanding to be removed from the system. Frank reveals that the system has changed, and accounts can only be cleared by physically returning the organ to the Union's central office. Remy knocks out Frank, steals the scanning jammers, and reunites with Beth, telling her they must leave the country. However, they encounter trouble at the airport when another passenger notices Beth's injured leg. Though they manage to bypass security checks with the jammers, they are still apprehended. Meanwhile, Frank alerts Jake and orders him to repo Remy. At the Union's office, Remy and Beth engage in a fierce fight with guards, defending themselves with improvised weapons. They overpower everyone, but when they exit the building, they find Jake on the other side of a security panel. Ignoring him, Remy carries Beth to safety, escaping the building. After escaping the airport, Remy and Beth head to the city slums to meet Asbury, a black market organs dealer with whom Beth had a past relationship. Asbury shares some red powder with Beth and engages in a moral argument with Remy about their jobs. Unfortunately, he can't assist Beth with her situation and advises them to visit Alva instead. At Alva's place, they discover there are two Alvas. One is a young woman who administers anesthesia, and the other is a little kid who performs the operations. Despite Remy's concerns about the child's age, little Alva proves to be skilled and successful. After the procedure, they return to Asbury's only to find him dead. Jake appears and tries to persuade Remy to return, revealing that he purposely sabotaged Remy's defibrillator unit to trap him in debt and prevent a transfer to sales. A violent confrontation ensues between Remy and Jake, with Jake initially gaining the upper hand. However, Remy manages to stab Jake in the leg before getting knocked out. Beth saves Remy by tasing Jake and then leads him through the chaos of a repo raid to an underground residence led by Rhodesia. Initially, Rhodesia threatens Remy when she sees his Repo Man tattoo, but he proves his worth by showing her the scar on his chest. Nightmares keep Remy awake, and he witnesses the devastating consequences of the raid, including the loss of little Alva. Determined to put an end to the system, Remy decides to take on the Union's headquarters. Later, they encounter Carol and Peter on a train, leading to a heated argument. Peter ultimately knocks out his mother using Remy's taser, and Remy entrusts him with his memoir, telling him to find him when he's older. Finally, Remy and Beth ambush and tase Frank, stealing his car and returning to the Union's headquarters for their final confrontation. In a daring mission, Remy and Beth manage to break into Union headquarters, taking down security guards and repo men along the way. Inside the facility, they stumble upon a lab filled with scientists working on artiforgs. As gunfire erupts, Remy and Beth are forced to defend themselves, leaving behind a trail of destruction. After reaching the Union's database room, they discover it can only be accessed through an organ scanner. With no other option, Remy and Beth undergo a risky procedure of cutting themselves open to scan their artiforgs from inside their bodies. As Frank and Jake arrive at the scene, Remy and Beth complete the scanning, and Jake decides to help them instead of following Frank's orders. He eliminates Frank and assists Remy in reviving Beth. Knowing they need to destroy the database to free all the clients, Jake cleverly plants grenades in the server's tray, causing a massive explosion that erases the records and grants everyone their freedom. In the aftermath, Remy, Beth, and Jake are seen together on a tropical beach, enjoying their newfound liberty. Remy's account of the events has been published as a book. However, a surreal sequence unfolds when Jake disappears, and the beach flickers with static, revealing that Remy is in a coma due to severe brain damage. Jake has taken care of Remy's debts and connected his brain to a neural network, allowing him to live in a peaceful dream world. Beth remains unconscious, and Jake promises to look after her before saying a heartfelt goodbye to Remy. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching.